welcome to Finextra TV. I'm Hannah Wallace and we're here at Sibos 2019 in London. Kindly joining me now is Jacqueline Keogh, Senior Vice President at Western Union. Hello Jacqueline, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
No problem at all. We've really got you here to talk a bit about Sibos and what's been covered. You've been going to a few of the sessions. I sadly haven't really had a chance to get out there, but can you tell us what's been sort of the top main topics that people have been talking about?
The highlights for me this year have been, I suppose the first area is the shift from we're doing things because we have to. So if we take PSD2 and open banking, the conversations last year were very much around we need to do this because it's a regulatory requirement. The positive this year is we've moved from that as a requirement to how can we benefit our clients as a result of it? So it's much more conversations around the product capability and the offerings to the client. That's a positive move in my mind. The other areas that really stuck out for me this year is there's a lot of conversations, understandably, around how technology is driving this industry. And that's been the case for as long as payments has existed. But now it's much more around enablers like cloud technology, blockchain, AI, particularly AI machine learning when it comes to processes and compliance and security. That's been a hot topic. Other areas of interest is the shift from real-time to instant payments. And obviously SWIFT, being the host of Sibos, their announcements around instant GPI have been a hot topic as well. So there's been a number of areas that have been pretty key this year. And it's interesting to see the shifts in the discussion from one year to another.
And you've talked a little bit about SWIFT and their announcements, and there have been some fantastic and exciting announcements here. Which ones have really sort of stuck out for you the most?
I think the things that have stuck out for me most is the partnerships. As an industry, if we're going to be successful, we need to partner significantly more than we do today. And it's the partnerships between software providers, fintechs, banks, those type of partnerships stand out for me as we're moving beyond trying to destroy the competition to trying to embrace competition and see how we can leverage that competition and see how we can leverage those capabilities actually for the client's benefit.
Sure, the partnerships have really added a real flavour to the industry, I think. But what has Western Union and what will Western Union be taking away from Sibos? What have you been learning from this year's sessions?
A takeaway, and it's reinforcing where we're already going anyway. A takeaway for us is very much that the industry as a whole is being componentized. People are needing to specialize in areas. The time of being all things to all men is going. If you're going to be successful, you've got to specialize in a particular area, in a particular industry, in a particular country, with a particular client, or you need to specialize in a particular functional capability. And I think that's one thing that really reinforces what Western Union is doing anyway. A prime example, a number of years back, we wouldn't have ever thought about providing our capabilities to another organization. The Western Union brand was key. Now we're happy to white label our offering to other organizations. That's a big shift. And I think that's a shift that is evident by many parties in the industry. So the move to that componentizing of the industry is important, and it feeds very much back into the partnership. If you want to offer your client an end-to-end service and you are focusing only on part of the process, it means that you've got to act as an orchestrator. You've got to orchestrate that experience, that end-to-end experience for your client. That means you have to partner. And you have to learn to do it in a way that both entities benefit. And we're not naturally good at that as an industry. We tend to dominate a little bit more than partnering. So I think that's one of the biggest takeaways for me, that the industry as a whole have come to that realization.
All right, and I'm going to ask you a little bit about sort of the road ahead, what we can expect from next year's Sibos. But before we do, what have been some of the sort of challenges and concerns that you've been hearing people talk about that need to be addressed?
I think the concern on the road ahead is almost the same question for me. It's one of the conversations that didn't happen as much on stage this year as I expected, but you hear when you talk to people in the corridors, is around Okay, as the industry moves towards things like instant payments, what does that mean for liquidity in the market? How are we going to address that liquidity requirements? Because you've got instant payments, and then you've got payment systems that have cut-off times. You've got central banks that have got certain opening hours. Money markets are closed. How do you operate in that environment? How do you manage your liquidity in that environment? Is there a need going forward to change the cut-off times? Or is technology going to solve this? There's more than one way to solve this problem. But how do you actually solve that liquidity issue? Because liquidity costs a lot of money.
Sure.
It impacts your organization quite significantly. So how do you solve it? And I think that's one of the challenges, something that hasn't been discussed as much this year. And I think it will be I hope it's a major discussion next year.
Well, I hope that we get a chance to speak to each other next year as well, and we'll see a bit of a difference. Jackie, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I'll let you get back to the final parts of the Sibos this year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.